Oh, fun, 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 fun. Hey, friends, patriots, welcome into another fun SBG News and Views. I'm Robert Imbriali, and I have a wonderful co-host to introduce you to today, Mr. Lewis Herms. How are you, my friend?
Hi, it's great to be here for my first time ever.
Were you nervous about coming on the show? I know we have a lot of viewers.
I've never done an interview before, so this is very, very scary for me, but
It's
it's
new,
going to
it's
be
fresh, it's
fun.
improved, right?
Yes. For you that are new here, that's sarcasm.
That is our sarcasm, right? We have that reputation that we are a little sarcastic in our approach to things. Boy, that was fun. Thanks for finding that video. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a cool one, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
We had run that one before, but I believe we had run it. I think it was just audio
Yeah,
last year
it
sometime.
was him on stage, probably on a cruise ship or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was really good. Yeah, there are a lot of creative people out there. We're seeing so many memes popping up today. I was going through the feeds and everything and looking at that. There are just memes popping up everywhere. And you were right, Lewis. Our side much better at the memes. We win the meme wars
Oh,
hands down.
it's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
The dichotomy between a patriot meme and a lefty meme is it's almost like they don't have a sense of humor. And I'm trying to be unbiased in that statement. I'm just going just by reading them. Their memes are hateful and our memes are funny. It's very interesting.
It is. It really is. I'm going to bring a little bit more audio in for you. I think you may be a little bit lower than I'd like. So, what's going on today? What's the good word from the Herms camp today?
Well, I'm going to be traveling for the next 9 days, so just trying to hone in on a few things like the app and some emails and yada yada. Just pretty much house cleaning right now. Then we're going to get the Unity tour going. So we have a lot of things that we're putting together on Unity tour. In fact, if let me see something. If you can put me full screen just for a second. Let's see if I can do this. Dun dun dun. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Boom.
Love it. Love it.
The Unity tour. So, for those of you that are not aware of what the Unity tour is, um, there's really four pillars of Unity that we're. The idea is that we're going to get as many people on board with the same message as possible, because in the Patriot community, it's extraordinarily divided. And it's even so if it's divided, of course, because people are exposing some patriots, and then there's an argument because they take sides. They're either in the Flynn camp or not the Flynn camp, or they're in the Jaco camp or not the Jaco camp, and I could just name so many names. And that the divisiveness, I think, is the exposure is important. I don't think the divisiveness is important, but we went from idolizing Hollywood to idolizing some patriots,
Yeah.
and maybe we need to take a step back. But that's one of the challenges of the division, and ironically, the cabal wants us divided. The Masonic agenda needs division, so we're falling right into that, which is really, really sad. And then it even permeates into ideology right now, which is very, very frustrating. So, for example, you have mainly two ideologies. Somebody that believes everything is a movie. Let's just sit on our couch and eat popcorn. And then somebody that believes everything you see is real. So let's live in fear. Well, neither of those are productive whatsoever. And you and I come from the standpoint, let's evaluate every single thing individually, and we determine that we're probably living somewhere in the middle. I mean, clearly there is a movie slash popcorn eating element to this for sure, but it's not all that way. And how do I know that? Because two things can be real at the same time. But what happens is we get in our ideology. And what made me really think about this is I did an interview, which I thought was a really good interview with Nicholas Veniamin. And one of the comments, of course, was, "Oh, it's all a show. Maybe you need to wake up, Lewis." I'm just like, wow. It's like, dude, chill out. We're all patriots here. We're trying to get to the same place. So all of this stuff goes to the Unity Tour. So within the Unity Tour, I'm working with patriots in the background so they can give a positive message to everybody, right? And some of these truthers, podcasters, influencers, whatever you want to call them, do not agree with each other, but I still want that positive message going out to we the people. In essence, we're also working on a beautiful song. Joe Rosati is a big part of that, and a whole bunch of other people. That's a Unity song. It's called "To Unite." And then we're going to do the Unity Tour, which kicks off on September 3rd, where we're going to 50 states in 33 days. Yes, 33, because we're taking back our numbers. Not because we're satanic, because we're not going to let the cabal own anything anymore. Right? Well, they can own their devil worship, but that's about it. We're going to own everything else. So if they want to flip something like they always do, something beautiful, they've taken our Constitution, they flipped it. Our Bill of Rights, they flipped it. Everything beautiful and productive, they flip on its head. We don't allow it anymore. So there's, in essence, I believe there's 4 pillars, and it's we want to take down the New World Control, get rid of illegal immigration. That's virtually every Western country is dealing with the same thing, right? Get rid of any real patriot for any country should be able to agree with those 4 pillars right there. So if we just focus on those 4 pillars, I believe we can bring everybody together. And this tour, I'm manifesting, is just going to be absolutely incredible. It is incredible. We have so many people showing up. They're going to be going to multiple stops, right? Your truthers will show up, whoever, a local hero, whatever it is. So this is where we must be, and we're going to bring the vibration so high with music at the beginning and at the end, singing, maybe some dancing. Who knows what's going to go on? But what we're showing the cabal is that we, the people, hold all the power, and division is not going to be part of our sector.
Can't wait to get that all rolling. It sounds so much fun. I know people are already asking for details, and details are forthcoming. We're putting up a website and figuring out locations and things like that. There's a lot of logistics that goes into. Imagine this, folks: 50 stops, 33 days, 11,000 miles of driving in 33 days. There's very few people that can pull this off.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate it because I believe we can and we will. But here's what's interesting. You can imagine, because of me running the Truth Tours, how many people have called me when they want to do one event, asking for some advice.
Yeah.
And during the event, coordinating, they're complaining on how hard it is. One. We're doing 50. So but it's not about, and it's going to be Bruce, myself, and Kevin, our buzzer guy friend. We're going to be the 3 that are going to be at every single stop. Somebody can hop on with us, follow us, whatever, show up at these stops and just have a good time. They're all free.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what is going to be put into this for us to pull this off. I strategically picked our team because they've been through the wars with me before, and I know they can handle it. So we will make it, and it'll be absolutely epic. But if we can't put it all on the line for we the people, why are we even in this fight? That's the way I look at it.
And I think there'll be a lot less war with this messaging, because this messaging is really bringing everyone together. I know the cabal doesn't want that. I get that. But it has a feeling that this will be a little bit smoother than times past.
Yeah, we'll see. It should be, but we've brought positive messages before, and we had a coven of witches show up before. I've been poisoned twice, because we're fighting against evil. And I mean, heck, how did I get my YouTube channel deleted just for saying manifest your destiny? Right? Because whatever message you're putting out there that is going to contribute to their demise, they will fight you. So we'll have security, we'll have things lined up, but regardless, we have God as our cover, and we do wear the armor of God. And I believe this is going to be extraordinarily successful in bringing together America, actually.
It should. It should be the catalyst. I mean, one event is not everything, but if it can be the catalyst that sets off other flames in other areas, and really, if you look at all the cities that you're going to, theoretically, every one of those cities should have a unity event beyond what you're doing, right? There
Yeah,
should
and
be people that pick up the torch and go with it.
I love that you said that because we did when we did our boot camp tour, we got a lot of messaging that other groups are now meeting because of the tour that we did in their own area.
Nice.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and that will be the same goal here, only in a much larger scale.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, for all those people who are wondering what you can do, well, number one is show up, and number two is get motivated, get inspired to, grab the torch and run with it as well. And there's a lot of people that ask me about that. It's like, could I, should I, would I be interfering with Lewis? I said, no, Lewis wants this. He wants you to go out and create, a tour, events, local, whatever. That's the best thing that could happen, because then the Truth Tour and the Unity Tour, all these things just really are catalysts for what's to come. Got to start with something. You got to have the spark somewhere.
Yep, agreed.
Dynamite won't blow up unless you light it on fire, right? Where the dynamite reference come from? Listen to this lady. Interesting, that popped up today after we heard from the FDIC that there are 53, and then I heard it was 63 banks that are pretty much insolvent at this point. It's time to pay attention here, guys. If you haven't been paying attention up until now may be the time to do that.
Yeah, so I only my wife and I have talked about this in the last few days. I was just moving a little money around to pay some bills. One of my accounts, when I transfer to it, generally shows the money within, an hour, 2 hours. It took a day and a half before the money showed up. Another account that I switched into is a little bit, takes a little bit longer. It usually takes a day. It took 3 days for the money to show up. Now, these are regular transfers, or I pay the EFT fee or whatever they call it, and that's it. And I was talking to her, and I said, honey, what's going on here, do you think? And we're just mulling it over. I believe that banks are in a lot of trouble right now. So they're having trouble. So they're holding money a little bit longer. Now, in the past, if they held money, it was because they gain interest on it. So that was the game that they play, right? Now I don't believe that to be the case. I believe they're holding money because they're cash poor and they have to move funds around in order to pay things.
Yeah.
So everybody should definitely be prepared.
Be paying attention. I had the same experience earlier this week. I moved money from one Bank of America account to another Bank of America account. And normally it's an instant transaction, 2 days before it showed up. Within the same bank.
Yep. That's crazy.
Doesn't make any sense, right? Something's up.
No.
Yeah,
something is up.
If you're thinking about investing in gold and silver, we have a guy who's going to join us on Friday, Matt Geiger. He's our guy at Midas Gold Group, 480-725-0536. Now is the time. It's not yet too late, but it may soon be too late to move some money over to gold and silver, where you can store your wealth because you'll have the physical product. Can't drop it. Can't drop in value. That we know.
So that'll be a great interview. I'll be on the road when you're going to be doing that interview. The neat thing, though, is Boomerang Podcast with Matt actually interviewed me, and it's an interview like you'll never ever see before. He asked some amazing questions. We went to some very interesting places in the interview. We're going to post that tomorrow, although it will be replayed. We'll post it as if it's live, so you guys can still chat if you want tomorrow at the same time as today.
Yeah. And if we're around, we will be in the chat room as well, because we like to hear from you guys. And you guys have been lighting up the chat room lately, and we love it. We're getting a lot of feedback about that and how wonderful that's happening. There's good stuff happening on this end, too. I've been, since I closed the studio just a little over a year ago, I always had this vision in the back of my mind that I wanted to create a new studio, but I wanted it to be bigger, and all the things that the other one didn't have, I wanted to create, and it wasn't happening, but I didn't lose sight of the vision. I had the vision, and all of a sudden, yesterday, things really started to pop, and we're starting to move forward on that. So it's really nice to know that probably by September we'll have a new studio built out here on the property, which is really nice. I don't have to go anywhere. My commute will be short, a little longer than being in this room, but it's really nice to see it's coming together.
Congratulations. You deserve it. I know how hard you work in the background, and to not have to travel. Most people don't know you used to have to travel almost an hour.
It was an hour each way, yeah.
And then when it was raining, you would be stuck and have to sleep in your studio.
Yep. How many times did I do that?
Yes, several. So, wow. Good for you.
Never wanted to miss a truthathon. It was right before a truthathon that one happened. Everything was closed. The roads were all flooded over. And I'm like, I need to go. And I won't tell you what I did to get across that river. And I really shouldn't have. But I did because it was important to be there.
He won't tell us. Dun, dun, dun.
I won't tell ya. So, guys, I just want to make mention real quick here. ScrewBigGov.com. If you haven't gone over, go over there and have a look. Lewis is going to be putting up some new websites, and you'll use that social media link to find all the websites and find the updates. ScrewBigGov is going to get a facelift too, from what I understand, and I'll be putting more stuff in there. Can't wait to see it. And if you like the shirts that Lewis has been wearing all week, there's a swag button there. You could click that button and you can get some for yourself. Hey, why not? Spring is here. Summer's coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Telegram at Renegade Media. And I've been posting a lot of stuff. Even when the days we're not doing the news show, there's still a lot of content going there. If you want to email me, robert@renegademedia.tv. All right. So it feels like, Lewis, Donald Trump.
It feels like Lewis?
It feels like
no.
Donald Trump is having some successes today. It's interesting that I was telling Phoebe this, like last week we were feeling like, oh man, nothing's happening. We're in the bog again. And it's just like, and I was like, okay, I know this is up and down. I know that. But you still get caught up in the emotion of it. And I said, it's going to shift. We're going to start seeing some breakthroughs. Has to, right? That pendulum has to go in the other direction. Guess what? It's starting to go in the other direction. So this is interesting here. This just broke an hour ago or so. Georgia Court of Appeals halts all proceedings in the Trump RICO case. That's down in Georgia. Boom, stopped it. They halted all proceedings in the Trump RICO case until the court rules on the effort to disqualify Big Old Fanny.
Big old Fanny with a big fanny.
Big old Fanny. President Trump's appeal hearing to disqualify Fannie Willis was tentatively set for October 4th. Maybe, maybe not. And here's other news. 2 other lawfare cases against President Trump were also postponed and likely won't take place until after the possible 2024 election. Jack Smith classified documents case against Trump was indefinitely postponed by Judge Aileen Cannon, if you remember. There's more to that. I have more to that story today. Jack Smith's January 6th case in D.C. currently on hold as we await a decision from the U.S. Supreme Court related to Trump's presidential immunity claims. We expect to see that probably at the end of June. That's normally when they come up with their rulings from this first session of the year. So we'll see. Winning. We're winning. Okay, that's 3 out of the 4. No, there's the, no, there's 5 actually, because there's the, what is her name? That strange looking woman.
Because I enjoyed it or something like that. I'm like, what the F is wrong with these crazy people?
Yeah.
But none of that could be admitted into evidence. Isn't that interesting? How does that work exactly?
Yep.
Because judges have way too much control in the courtroom. All of that's going to change, guys. It's all getting torn down. Oh, I can't wait.
Well, that's the Alex Jones situation too. He said the same thing. He couldn't bring the evidence, and it was default judgments. And it's like, all right, we've got lawfare going on, not just in the bigger cases, but 2 of Trump's other attorneys were indicted today as well, and so was the guy who runs the campaign. So they're chipping away at this with this lawfare because they seem to be getting some traction. Although we can see some of the cases don't really go anywhere; they're falling apart. And I think this case here is interesting. We have some info from Peter Navarro, of all people, from prison today. We're going to talk about what he feels will happen with Donald Trump going forward here. We'll take the wins, though. 3 cases falling apart. That's good. I like that. All right. What do you make of this story that popped earlier today, or actually late last night? NATO is now planning to get U.S. troops to the front line to fight Russia. NATO has
Yeah.
disclosed its preparations to deploy American troops to the European front lines in the event of a full-scale conflict with Russia. So they've got these corridors set up that will move through Central Europe, bypassing local bureaucratic hurdles. This strategic setup allows NATO forces to swiftly react should Putin's aggressive actions in Ukraine extend westward. Not going to happen. Reports suggest these plans also encompass provisions for potential Russian attacks. In such scenarios, troops could mobilize through corridors in Italy, Greece, and Turkey to reach the Balkans, or alternatively towards Russia's northern border via Scandinavia. These details were shared with the Telegraph in London. Yeah.
So years ago, Russia agreed with NATO that if they weren't pushing Ukraine and other countries that were near Russia to be part of NATO, they wouldn't be an aggressor.
Right.
And that line that they agreed upon has moved several times until it got right to Russia's border with Ukraine. And when Ukraine started stacking their troops and their tanks near the border, and NATO's saying, let's bring in Ukraine, even though it wasn't approved yet, that's when Russia took action. Now, I do believe that they took action because there was also a bunch of, let's call them biological plants that had more than just biologics.
Them to the more than 2 million migrant entries into the United States annually. They're trying to normalize it is what they're doing. The source, not authorized to speak to the media, says the order will do little to change the landscape of an out-of-control border, even if legal challenges by pro-migrant civil rights groups fail to kill the order outright. So today's executive order is titled A Proclamation on Securing the Border. It actually does the opposite. Will deny migrants the opportunity to apply for asylum when, get this, hear the caveat, when the 7-day average of migrant apprehensions at the southwest border reaches 2,500 or more per day. Oh, we could trust those numbers, can't we? The proclamation, according to the source, could allow for nearly 1 million migrant apprehensions per year with no limitations on asylum eligibility if cartels or the Mexican government meter the crossings at less than 2,500 per day. Excuse me? Who's metering the crossings here?
All right. It's so flippin' stupid because let's even assume that they're counting the crossings, right?
Right.
You can say whatever you want about the cartel. They're not dumb. And virtually everybody that crosses the border has to go through the cartel. So they can meter it themselves if they needed to and make it 2,490 every single day.
Yeah.
You know, it's ludicrous. This is optics, though, I believe, right? But here's the bigger question, and I know I preached this so many times. The president does not or is not supposed to have the power that the president has with these crazy executive orders. So what I believe, including President Trump, by the way, but President Trump took advantage of it, I think, in a very positive way. I believe when it's all said and done, the executive orders will virtually be off the table. And we're going to go into a situation where the president or whatever that position will be called will only do the State of the Union, deal with emergencies, and the War Powers Act, a revised War Powers Act at that.
Right.
We'll see. I've been really studying the Bill of Rights lately. In fact, on Vinny Amman, I kind of broke down the Bill of Rights and how it affects us directly, how it's being attacked and how they're using it against President Trump. But I believe President Trump is using the Bill of Rights to wake people up because they violated, I believe, 4 of the first 10 amendments just with the way they're handling President Trump. So I may, if I get time in my travels, edit that and post that up on our channel. But it's very interesting, very compelling, actually. We have to get back to the basics, and that would be pre-1871 manipulation of the Constitution.
Yeah, there's. I'm gonna share this because I think it's important to share. There's a lot of talk today. Bannon had guests on this morning, and he was asking them, "Do we live?" And here's the question: Do we live in a post-constitutional country now? And every one of them agreed we do because none of this lawfare is following the Constitution at all. So they're looking at it now and saying, you know what, we're in a country without a constitution, really, because it's just a piece of paper. Unless there's laws and enforcement of it, it doesn't have power. It's just words on a sheet of paper, and a really old one at that. So, we got to look at it from that perspective. We want our country back. We got to start getting back in line, getting these people back in line with the Constitution. Not an easy process, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, if we would just really internalize the first 10 amendments, that's, by the way, that's considered the Bill of Rights.
Right.
If we would just internalize the Bill of Rights, and act the way that's supposed to be, right, it would be absolutely amazing. Yeah. And we have to get away from our corpocracy, which was created when they moved everything into DC, and I believe the Constitution into a corporate constitution. That's a whole bigger story, though. But I believe we're getting in office, the appearances that he's in office. It's hard for people to grasp that there's movement, and I understand that.
Yep,
I totally understand that. So, but it appears that the Federal Reserve has been taken down and things were moved over to the Treasury, right? So there are little clues here and there. It appears that Trump is commander in chief, but it also appears to me that we, the people, who are being called upon right now to take our country back, and we're not acting. Because there's two camps. There's the fear camp that they won't do anything, and then there's the camp that they believe everything's being done for them. And the truth is right there in the middle.
Yep. I'll tell you something Fulford shared in his Monday newsletter. He got good information that the real Donald Trump is in Cheyenne Mountain and has not left, and that the two that are acting as him, the one at Mar-a-Lago and the one that goes to the rallies, are being directed by him. So you can understand if that's the case. What makes sense there is we're not hearing any intel. We're not hearing any clues. We're not hearing anything. Well, those actors don't have that. They don't have that information. But if there's a real Trump in the background who is commander-in-chief, who is at Cheyenne Mountain, who is, yada, all of it, it's like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. Don't know if it's true. Nobody will know if it's true. For now, we're not supposed to.
Yeah, but if we're looking for clues that this is a movie, when I was in Mar-a-Lago, whether you believe that was the real Trump or a double, that's up. Anybody can dispute that.
Right.
I don't have an ego, so it doesn't really matter to me. All I know is that guy that stood 15 feet from me, first things out of his mouth is, "Wow, looks like Tom Holman's right out of Central Casting."
Oops.
Why is he saying Central Casting all the time?
Yeah.
Something going on.
Yep.
We have to understand that there's something going on. It's not fun, guys. It's not supposed to be fun because the wake up is not for us. It's for the normies.
Yeah, and I think we all experience a level of frustration with not seeing more because we're here. We've been on the cutting edge for so long. It's like, well, let's go to the next step. But I gotta wait for all those people to catch up. They're drowsy.
Yeah, agreed.
You need to wake them up.
My wife's term, we got to give her credit every time. I want her to get the residual for that. She calls those people drowsy.
She's got to trademark that one for sure.
The other one she does too is that when she's trying, she goes, what's drowsy? I go, honey, what's your definition of drowsy?
Yeah, they're right in the middle there. Well, they're Fox snoozers, right? They watch Fox and they snooze and they get the little bits.
Did you say snooze?
Fox snooze, yeah.
Oh, I've not heard that before. Yeah. Good one, Robert.
Fox snoozers, that's what I call them.
Fox snoozers. Just so everybody's very, very clear, my wife is the brains behind the operation here. I'm just the pretty face.
Lewis is just the on-camera talent, as we like to say, right? No.
Yes, I'm the pretty face. There's
Keep
my
doing that.
Neumi
You're going to look like
sin.
you're 22 soon.
I act like it, so that's good enough,
Well, yeah.
right?
Well, you should never grow up. I think that's a good piece of advice. Never grow up. Never stop playing.
Yep.
I'm kind of liking Aileen Cannon. As a judge, she's doing the right things. Do you remember yesterday when they were grilling our Attorney General Garland? One of the things, I think it was Matt Gaetz that brought up, he said, do you have the authority to appoint Jack Smith as a special counsel? And he went on as, well, I didn't really do it, blah, blah, blah. He, deflected as he normally does. Well, today, Aileen Cannon comes out and she says, hey, that's something we could talk about here. So the judge presiding over Trump's classified documents case is expanding her court hearings to determine whether Jack Smith's appointment as special counsel is legally valid. Oops. The federal court is allowing 3 legal experts to make their cases on the complicating issue. On June 21st, Trump's legal team is arguing that Smith's appointment is illegal because he was not employed by the federal government when he was made special counsel. Trump's attorney, Christopher Kise, argued in a motion that Smith should be removed from the case. Here's his quote: "The appointments clause does not permit the attorney general to appoint, without Senate confirmation, which they don't have, a private citizen and like-minded political ally to wield the prosecutorial power of the United States. As such, Jack Smith lacks the authority to prosecute this action." Oops. Let's go right back to the beginning here.
Well, there's a commonality there too. Judge Merchan wasn't even on the pool of judges that were allowed to be selected for that case. By the way, it's supposed to be random. There's over 24 judges in New York that could have tried this fake fraudulent case against President Trump. He was considered a low-level alternate, right? Yet that's the guy that they chose. Oh, not for just that case, I believe for 2 other cases also.
Yeah, well, they got Steve Bannon too in that, and he was a family court judge. He wasn't even prosecuting anything criminal.
Right.
So they pulled him out of that, which is a much lower court. They pulled him into this because I'll go along with it. How much is the payout? Clearly that's the way this works, right?
Right. So here's our question: under a proper judicial system, how could that ever happen? It can't. It can't. And this is what I alluded to this thinking. The games that they play. So what happens is, back in, let's call it the roaring 20s, 30s realm, what was going on is the mafia was paying off police officers all over the country in order for them to do their dirty dealings and them not be held accountable. What they learned right around the moonshine era, right, where you would drive fast cars, NASCAR type cars would drive through the back dirt roads and hustle moonshine, is they found out that they just need to bypass all of that and they just need to go for a judge, and so whoever appoints those judges. So instead of paying off 20, 30, 50, 100 different police officers, they focused on paying off a couple judges and whoever appoints the judge, generally an AG, right? Very interesting how they did sometimes the DA. This is how they got off over and over and over and over and over. So the exact same technique is used with the deep state cabal today. It's quite disgusting, but this is part of the mechanism that has to be torn down for us to rebuild the foundation. And that's where we the people have to get involved, constantly exposing this over and over and over. But they need to be educated too.
Well, yeah, you call it judge shopping, and that's exactly what it is. They'll shop for the judge that they can buy, or they can blackmail or threaten or whatever. They've got many tools, right? and they get him in there. And this Merchant guy does not look like, he's Mr. Tough Guy and laying down the law. He looks, to me, scared. He looks like he's in this role. He has to play this role. Doesn't feel to me energetically like he really wants to be here. But I don't think he has a choice in the matter.
Yeah, it's not just the money. They're generally compromised at the same
Correct.
time.
Yep.
So both aren't mutually exclusive, and that's what people have to understand. Same thing in the entertainment industry. You can be compromised on film doing something nefarious or have evidence against you and getting paid off at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have to be separate. So there's a stick and a carrot there at the exact same time, and they're both used. Very motivating for people because they live in fear, but there's something positive for them to look forward to, and that's the money and the riches. It's nefarious as all get out. You know what I mean? And it's all being exposed, and I'm excited about the future. So we just have to hang in there. But I just really urge people to understand it's not up to anybody to take care of us. It's up to the people to start having these conversations over and over and over, because they're going to permeate throughout the public. And I'm not just saying on Twitter. Have these uncomfortable conversations with your family. Understand the threshold where they right until you can push them until they're going to retract, and then just let it rest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's hard to know, is it their moral compass that went out the window, or is it that the threat level is just so high? They're like, I got to do this, or they're going after my family, or they're going to expose me, or you know what I mean? You don't know what they can get people to do. They could also be a little bit MK Ultra. They could be, just acting without really connecting with their moral compass. We see a lot of that going on now. Especially in the streets right now. We have a lot of those kind of people popping up, and probably be a good idea to have a chat with Laura Worley at some point about what she's seeing, because she's seeing it firsthand on that level.
Yeah, well, we know they do things in threes. So let's make an assumption that they pay people off, they compromise those people, and they MK Ultra them. Mm-hmm. And I think a good representation of that is the entertainment industry. Yeah. Okay, I love watching talent shows. Yes, that's some people like to watch Jersey Shores and Real World and all that crap. I prefer to watch talent shows. I love when people work really hard and they can have a triumphant performance and everybody loves it. I watch those people. Give you an example. The panel on America's Got Talent. They look genuinely caring and loving towards their guests. But we know what a lot of these types of people do when the cameras are off. So I believe they're MK Ultra'd in order to, they actually have these feelings and these real tears, and they do care. They're not all actors, right?
Right.
Yet they go, then the MK Ultra switch turns on and they do these nefarious deeds in the background. It's crazy. The kind of the evidence I have of that is, do you remember Ellen DeGeneres?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what I believe her show was for is to push the buttons and test how the MK Ultra is taking in her guests. And then often when they would break a little bit, because she would antagonize her guests, and when they would break a little bit, i.e. Sandra Bullock, next thing you know, they're either on a month hiatus, or they disappear for 2 weeks, or they go on a vacation, nobody can talk to them. I believe they're reinstituting the MK Ultra. I don't think that's so far-fetched. I don't have evidence of that, but that's my speculation based on behavioral patterns.
Yeah, I hope at some point, and I was talking to Phoebe about this yesterday. I said, I hope at some point all of this gets exposed. But then I thought about it and I said, that's never really going to happen. I mean, the truth of the matter is there's so many things happening right now that 2 weeks from now we'll forget, because there's going to be so many more new things happening. You can't go back and revisit it all. So we're going to get some, probably we'll get an explanation, we'll get an understanding globally, but I don't think we'll get any of the specifics and the details at that level, because we'll often have forgotten it by then. I mean, we're going through so much right now. I was looking at the news feeds today, Lewis, my head was spinning.
Oh,
there's so much going on.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The good news is it seems like there is some pushback from the people, so hopefully we can keep it up.
Well, I tell you one thing I would not want to be is a politician in Mexico. You've heard the story, right? The Mexico
Ugh.
elects the first female president following the deadliest election campaign in the country's modern history.
It's a tough role, and either all of these assassinations are just total lies, right? They're not even happening because it's just one big movie we're watching, or there are still some moves to be made from the gray hats most people call white hats.
Yeah, and you know it's always a struggle for power. When literally Mexico is a power vacuum. I mean, whoever they put in power really isn't in power. It's these other organizations that are these drug cartels. They wield all the power because they have better armament than the military does.
True.
You know, so yeah, it's one of these things. It's like, how does it get solved? Well, the people. You know, we say come back to the people. Well, how do they rise up? They're not armed. It's only the bad guys that have the arms, right, down in Mexico. Yeah. Hey, you got an update for us on the Aluska, not the husky, right?
Well, you know, my kids actually did a DNA test,
Uh-huh.
and I guess they win because I think he's 80% husky and 20% Alaskan.
Ah.
But so at least I was 20% correct. I'll take that every day of the week.
You were partially right.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of 50%, because I thought he was a 50-50, but, you know, can't tell. Just had some characteristics of that. You know what? It's amazing. And I know we harp on this, guys, if you've ever watched our program here before. So I'll just quickly go into it. He's a very mellow dog for a husky, you know what I mean? But just the sweetest dog, but really kind of independent and doesn't want to deal with the people. I didn't know that a lot of that had to do with his nutrition previously until we started feeding him Pet Club 24/7 food and nutrition. Next thing you know, like I come home and he's jumping up and down and he's always smiling and so on and so forth. So it makes an absolute huge difference. And nowadays, I just say, guys, just try it.
Yep.
Just try it. Somebody left me a message and said it's so expensive, and then I'm like, well, I don't want to be selling it if it's too expensive. So I compared it. I actually went to a PetSmart and a Petco, got their best quality food, by the way, which may be considered good, not great. And it's more expensive per ounce than this stuff. So I don't know what the heck these people are talking about. Yeah. And this food's over the top and delivered to your door. But maybe they're talking, if they're comparing, allegedly.
Allegedly, right. Yeah, it's worth giving a shot, give it a try. You'll find the link down in the description below, Pet Club 24/7. And I'll tell you something, it's worth giving it a shot. 30 days, money back guarantee if you don't like it. Very few people will ever refund. And it is actually on par with some of the better foods out there and actually cheaper than most of the top end foods that are out there. Maybe more expensive than the garbage, but you know, do you really want your pet eating garbage? I chose not to.
Right.
And you will see an improvement in their health pretty quickly within 30 days for sure. I saw it within 1 week with our cat. So yeah, I can be a raving fan. Why? Because, well, I have the evidence coming and bugging me coming and saying hi every day. It's 4:00. Where's my food? Like, okay, I'll get it.
That's awesome.
You know, dogs are man's best friend, but for cats, we're just staff.
It's so true.
It's the way it works. It's the way it works.
So true.
Okay. Messages from prison. That's what's up next. The great Peter Navarro is serving his 4-month prison term. He's actually going to get out on July 17th, which I think is day 2 of the Republican National Convention. So when he gets out of prison, he's going to be flown right over there and he's going to go right on stage. Crazy times we live in. Anyway, Breitbart did an exclusive interview with him while he's in prison. And Peter Navarro is a former top economic aide in former Donald Trump's White House, who is currently languishing in federal prison, serving a multi-month sentence for having stood up against subpoenas from the January 6th committee last Congress. He's now speaking out from behind bars in an exclusive interview with Breitbart News. I posted this on the Renegade Media site. You can go to Breitbart.com and have a look at it. Very fascinating to read the interview. It's long, so I just pulled a couple of quick quotes here from Peter. He said, Merchan's gambit will be even more nefarious, and he's talking about compared to his, where he was literally caught between a rock and a hard place. Because President Trump said you have executive privilege, you can't talk. And the J6 committee says, we don't care about that, we want you to talk. And he said, no, I've got executive privilege, and they charged him anyway. So Merchan's gambit with Trump is even more nefarious. He will sentence Trump on the eve of the Republican National Convention, actually 4 days prior, in July, and may even try to block Trump from traveling to Milwaukee to accept his party's nomination for president by refusing to release him pending appeal. So in other words, he'd be holding him in jail. Most importantly, I also believe that Merchan will refuse to release Trump pending, well, it's the same sentence here. Wake up, America. This is happening in our country, and there's not a dime's worth of difference now between the courts in communist China and Russia and the good old US of A. Yeah.
Well, if Fulford's right, Trump's not really going to be there anyways, is he?
Yeah. That would be interesting. We have one Trump in jail, another one up on stage at the same time.
Exactly. There's your disclosure. I still think the best disclosure, what's really going to wake everybody up, is Biden will be on camera in some extraordinary news conference where he's going to get the whole world to watch, right? And he'll say, and he'll pull off his mask right there, and President Trump will walk right behind him and say, okay, now let's really talk about what's going on here.
Wow. That would be cool.
That will be the easiest way to wake up the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Yep.
Easiest.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to all happen, but that would be kind of a cool way of doing it. I keep expecting, the Trump rallies. There's another rally. Maybe there'll be something. And you watch them again and again. It's like there's never anything. And it's like to the point where why watch, right? Because you're not going to get anything. What we want, I know the normies need that, but what we want, We're not hearing.
Yep. In time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, in another sign of winning, do you like these signs of winning, or are you getting tired of them? Getting tired of winning? What's going on? How you feel?
I like winning.
You like
winning is good.
I would figure as an entrepreneur you would love to win because that's what we do. The Washington Post, this is from the National Pulse. They broke this story today. They said their Washington Post CEO tells reporters, I can't sugarcoat it. People are not reading your stuff. He's talking to the reporters at the Washington Post. During a Monday meeting, Washington Post CEO and publisher Will Lewis reportedly explained to his staff, quote, we are losing large amounts of money. Your audience has halved in recent years. People are not reading your stuff, and I can't sugarcoat it anymore. You know what the reaction of the staff was? The staff, however, appeared more concerned with diversity hires and whether or not a woman of color was interviewed for the role of editor-in-chief, now being taken by a former colleague of Lewis's from the United Kingdom. They don't get it. They will be out of work soon.
So it's interesting. So I was reading an article on the show Star Trek Discovery, right? And it is the most woke show that you could possibly ever imagine. So they're interviewing people for that show and another show coming up, and they go, what do you think about it being called woke? And the response blew me away. Oh, by the way, and a Star Wars coming up. Go figure. There's some Star Wars spin-off coming up too.
Yeah.
Ironically, they were both being interviewed by separate reporters asking about the wokeness of these shows. The Discovery one said, "Oh, well, it should be woke. Of course, it should be woke. Yes, we have to have this. This is how we wake the people up. This is how they pay attention. What's wrong with woke?" And he got very, very defensive, right? Very interesting. The other one flipped the script on the Star Wars, the one that's going to be released. Like virtually every character is gay, or they're even saying CP3O is gay and R2D2 is probably a lesbian. I mean, they're going off, but they're like, oh yeah, well it should be. Of course it should be. The whole thing should be woke. Yeah, lesbianism, LGBT all the way. And do they not understand what the reason why this is becoming an issue is because I would say 90% of people really don't give a damn if you're gay or not, right? They just don't want it shoved down their throat.
Right.
They don't want to be manipulated into the agenda. And this is my point. They don't care if the studios would go bankrupt. They don't care about anything. In fact, the studio is the one that are controlling the agenda, right? And they don't care about if they don't have any more audience because they're just so arrogant,
yep.
right, about getting their agenda out there. And the reality is, it's an agenda. That's all it is.
Yep. It is,
right? And they want to push and push, push. And now, if you go back a little bit, and we'll find out this is all part of the color revolution. This is they're having to push it on us on purpose because it creates division. It brings in, and guess ultimately what it is. I know all you LGBT people are going to get completely upset with me, but it is a Baphomet agenda. Blur the sexes just like it is for worshiping Baphomet.
And also it's a depopulation agenda too, because once you start mutilating your genitals, you can't have kids anymore.
That's right.
Yep. So there's always more than one reason to these things, and we've found that again and again. There's always like they've got 2 or 3 different reasons that are why they do what they do. And it still only represents, what, 7% of the population, that audience? It's kind of interesting to say, hey, we're going to go after 7% of the audience and we'll alienate the other 93%. Doesn't make any business sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah. You and I know that. We'd never do that in our business. That's not the game we're going to play. Not at all. All right. Well, I could show you this one real quick, and then we'll go to that one. Somebody mocked this up. I thought it was hysterical. Shower time. You see Biden there with his shower cap and his little rubber ducky. It turns out the Ashley Biden diary is real. How much so? She's suing to get it back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not real though. Not real at all, right? Oh, brother.
Totally fake.
Yep. Next week, we're going to have Lance on, Lance Shuttler, the guy behind Ascent Nutrition. He's going to be talking to us about humic and fulvic acid, one of the great supplements that he has. This one is pine needle extract, which is really good for your respiratory, helps your immune system, and assists in brain and nervous system health. If you want to find out more about Lance's stuff, sbgascent.com, sbgascent.com. And I got a lot of questions for Lance, and Lance is one with a lot of answers, so looking forward to having him on next week. He's traveling this week, but next week he'll be with us. We had to flip the schedule. We thought we'd get him this week, but he's really busy. Really good supplements. He's a stickler for quality. People always ask, oh, how do I know the quality is good? With Lance, you don't have to guess. You know he's not going to put something on the market unless it's top notch all the way.
No, Lance does not compromise on quality.
Yep, not at all. So, and the pricing is not outrageous. He also doesn't believe in gouging, because he could make the prices a lot higher than the other supplements are, because he's got higher quality and he refuses to do that. Not about the money for him. It's about making sure people are healthy. SBGAscent.com. You want to find out that Biden mumbled and spoke so softly, people struggled to hear him. Closed his eyes for so long, people had wondered if he tuned out. And he had to read notes to make obvious points. He's 81. He's been struggling behind closed doors during official meetings, according to this in-depth study published Tuesday by the Wall Street Journal. The octogenarian, means he's in his 80s, reportedly told House Speaker Mike Johnson a recent policy change was just a study, prompting Johnson to believe Biden forgot the details of his own policy. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy told the newspaper, I used to meet him when he was vice president. I'd go to his house. He's not the same person. So the question I have, are they preparing to remove him? And I think the answer here is obvious.
Not the same person is a calm, by the way.
Yeah. Not at all the same guy he used to be.
So I'll just summarize really quick. And I
Hmm.
think it was 2022, the DNC actually wrote something into their rules that after a president gets the nomination, if he or she, or in Big Mike's case, it actually says, I'm going to resign, or for some reason they get impeached, a committee of, I believe, 12 can appoint whoever they want to run.
Yep.
That's a rule that's in the DNC doctrine. And I believe that's why Gavin Newsom has met with several world leaders. I believe that's why he rolled out the red carpet for Xi in San Francisco, so on and so forth. But
a footnote at most. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. So is it possible? Yes.
There you go. He confirmed it.
there we go.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, Robert and I really want to start engaging with some new people and doing some phenomenal interviews right here on our channels that you're watching now. If you have anybody, and they can be an obscure name, it doesn't have to be a big name, or it could be a great big name, doesn't matter to us. If you have somebody that because you're we the people, that you want us to interview, just email screwbiggov@protonmail.com. Screwbiggov@protonmail.com. Just say, hey, can you interview this person? If you have some contact information of theirs, that would be very helpful too, because it's hard for us to scramble and figure it out. We don't have that much time. So if you have contact information of theirs and you're just like, I really want to hear from this person, even if it's something esoteric, although we don't go too far down the esoteric rabbit hole. I have a friend that's trying to get me to go down all the aliens are running everything, and I'm just not ready for that conversation at the moment because I think it's a distraction. But please give us the information, and we'll do our best to accommodate you.
Cool. I like that. And if you're hearing any scratching in the background, that is Thumper. Now Thumper.
I heard.
Really?
It must be past. It's past 4:00.
It's past 4:00. Oh boy. So college grads are kind of an interesting bunch. Here's a survey they did, and they said they surveyed 800 employers. Then they wanted to see what their experience is with the new college grads. So 53% apparently struggle with eye contact, probably because they're staring at their screens all the time. They're used to that. 50% ask for unreasonable compensation. You're just out of college, dude. You don't make $100,000 a year starting off. You know what I mean? 47% dressed inappropriately for an interview. 27% used inappropriate language. 21%, this is kind of interesting, refused to turn on their camera during a virtual interview. I don't know, Lewis. I think I would end the interview right there. What do you think?
Oh, you know me. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I'd be like, click.
Gone. Oh, I'm sorry. We lost the connection, and we're not putting it back up. Sorry. And 19%, oh my gosh, brought a parent to their interview.
Wow, I thought that was a lot lower. Are you almost 20%?
1 in 5.
Oh my God! Did they bring a binky also? Maybe they probably have a binky hanging around their neck they need to suck on every time they get triggered.
It's a little bit nuts to think of, but that's the generation coming out of college today. So what are they doing in college? What are they doing when our kids are in college? Are they giving them any skills on how to be macho and how to have confidence, or are they just beating them to a pulp where they walk out of college and they have zero confidence, zero ability?
Well, and I bet you there's two other missing here. 99% of them can't name one of the top 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights.
Oh, yeah.
And 100% of them drink soy milk.
Very possible. Very possible. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I saw that and it's like, oh, we got to share this. This is just too good not to share. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. All right. If you want to look as good as Lewis, I'm going to mention this real quick. You should get Neumi Skin. I think this is real important to understand. You spray this on your skin. And Phoebe had some stuff going on in her chest, little scars or whatever. And she sprayed this and she goes, oh my God, in a week it's almost gone. And Bruce has been using on his fingers, and it's been helping healing the skin. That's what glutathione does. It's nanoparticle glutathione. It's a spray used for external use. If you want to use it internally, then you take the NutraSwish. And that's what you swish around your mouth for about a minute or so, and then swallow the rest, and it'll go right to work because it's absorbed sublingually under the tongue. And you can find out more about Neumi. The link is in the description of this video, whichever channel you're watching it on. And we appreciate Neumi for supporting our channel, and we thank you for being customers. And gosh, the emails that we get, people showing things like, this is Christine Geiger, she works with us, that's a 1 year difference. We're seeing this a lot of people are sharing these kind of photos, like, oh my gosh, it's making such a difference. And it's great to see. So, and look how young Lewis looks. You want to look like him, don't you?
Yep. I'm 124. So
124.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love the way you married that with the previous story.
Our youth, they need our help more now than ever, Lewis. I don't know what to do, but they need our help.
Well, again, to defend the young ones, those are the ones indoctrinated through the college system.
Yeah.
I'm finding the opposite from the ones not going to college. And I know this pisses off a lot of people I know that went to college recently. They seem to be more secure, more accomplished, and yes, making more money in your late 20s than people that actually went to 4 years and got your degree. Oh, but you know what else? They don't have a loan to pay off.
So that means they can get into a house sooner, and they can get the new car sooner.
Yep. Right? I'm just letting you guys know, because I know people are very upset and they think it's all is lost. No. There's a direct, I'm finding a dichotomy between the woke college students and the not college students already seem like they got it all figured out. They know stuff that I don't know about what's going on in government right now. So you guys, there is some good out there. It's not all bad, and not everybody's going to college right now.
Right.
They're not paying for the indoctrination.
Exactly. And I think the parents are noticing that, and they're recognizing it too. And they say, I love my kid the way they are. And they send them to college after 4 years. They don't recognize them anymore after all the indoctrination. So they're second guessing themselves on that, which I think is a good thing, because there are going to be better colleges that will come along as more and more parents recognize this is not the direction at all. We're not going to send the money there. We're not going to spend it. We're not going to send our kids into that system, because they look at the output. They look at the product, and the product is telling you, it's a warning flag. Don't send them there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, and let's think about this. And this is how an opposite world we are. A parent works really, really hard to make sure their kid is set up for success to go to college. Mm-hmm. Success being, by the way, memorizing all your tests and getting straight A's, being valedictorian after you go through, and all this BS, right? That's so important. They struggle, and they get you your tutors, and they do everything to get you into college, help pay for your way through college, the housing, the food, everything they can. Then 4 years later, they want to disown you because they were indoctrinated with the money and the effort that you put towards that.
Yep. You paid for it. Talk about a slap in the face. And, we're seeing this with college, but we're also seeing it with parents who
took 15 to 20 points off your kid's IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
How about fluoride in the water? I mean, we could just keep going on, right? There's thing after thing after thing that's going on with that kind of thing. And they want to keep us dumb, because when the dumber we are, the easier we are to manipulate. We'll believe anything.
Yeah, it's all about calcification of our pineal gland and our pituitary system, because that's what gives us our free thinking abilities.
Yep. Well, we have a lot of free thinkers watching our show. We thank you all for that. You guys are amazing. We do this because of you, and we're happy to have you along for the ride, because, oh my, it is a ride. And Lewis and I were talking about this the other day. He said, where do we see our show going? And I think it's really going to take off, because as more and more of this heats up, people are going to want what we're sharing more and more. So I think it's just going to grow, and we gotta work hard on our own selves, our own visions here to keep the straight and narrow, because boy, it's easy to get derailed in days that we're going through right now, because you see all the negative information. And okay, question everything, right? Start questioning it. Don't be a lemming and just don't even believe what we're telling you, because we could be wrong, and we have been wrong, and we'll probably be wrong again. But at the moment we're sharing it, we believe it to be the truth. Doesn't mean it'll always be, because more information comes out. Question everything. And it'll help you exercise your brain in a way where you can start really understanding the world in a new way, rather than just taking everything. Doctors, they know everything. Lawyers, they know everything, right? And that's what we've been conditioned to. Oh, you have to send your kid to college, and we're waking up to the fact that none of that's true, right?
Yep, absolutely agree, folks. I will be doing my due diligence to be on our shows the next week. I am taking 9 days of traveling. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, I'm going to be speaking at the Quantum Summit this weekend in Cape Canaveral. Get a ticket, come down and visit, say hi, whatever you need to do. I'll be down there for a few days, and then my wife are going to do some more traveling. But I'll do my best to actually be here and work my schedule around to make sure I'm still available. But if I'm not responding quickly to some emails or such, it's just because I'm pretty tied up doing some things.
Yep. No worries, Lewis. If you have to miss a day, it's not a challenge. When it's traveling, it's hard to figure the timing, because flights are late, rides are late, meetings run over. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. It just says we'll just play it by ear and do the best we can with it.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, my friend. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you being along for the ride, and what a ride it's been and will continue to be. And we are, doing the best we can to give you guys hope.
Yep.
Bright